That's better.
You good?
Welcome to Off the Stage Podcast.
And welcome to Off the Stage Podcast. It's the show where we take musicians off the stage and into the pub to talk about the ins and outs of the music world. We're back in the Dubliner. I'm James Berry, this is Conor Michael, and we are joined by Stevie from Juliet's Not Dead.
Well, good afternoon.
There we
Doing
go.
a clap thing there.
Got to do the
Hello,
clap.
mate. How you doing?
I'm really good, mate. Really
Yeah.
good.
Um,
Nice to be here.
the question everyone's asking, are you going to go from red to blue in your hair?
Again. Again. I just keep changing it up, mate. I keep getting bored. Like, I was, what I did for a little while was just, I'll go back blonde and not do anything drastic to it. And then that didn't last that long, to be honest. People, what about doing this? Or, it all sounds really good ideas. The only thing I didn't go with is somebody said, why don't you dye green? It's not for me. Green's definitely not for me.
Yeah, I get that. Because it always seems to kind of match what song you've got out. I'm sure you went red when Twister was like big and red.
Yeah, it is. It is. And then we did blue, and we changed all the colour scheme to blue last year, and then then just this is because we're going to start the tour next week, so this is tour hair.
Tour hair, nice. We've got Instagram questions, but I'm just going to ask the main one. It's no longer Twister. You were on the podcast. Was it 2 years ago? I think it was an early day episode.
Yeah, it was a good while ago. Yeah,
and back then it was Twister.
it was
But now it's Juliet's Not Dead.
correct.
So why the name change and why Juliet?
No reason, just fancied a laugh.
Yeah.
No, so yeah.
All the hard work for the crack.
Yeah, we just thought, it's just fill our boots give us work for work's sake. No, we started the whole like going into the album process about a year ago this week, and we'd booked the studio time. We had one song, but we like putting ourselves under a little bit of pressure because you always work a bit better when you know you've got deadlines.
Yeah.
So booked the studio time for end of January, beginning of February, and then we got to December and still had one song, and then by the time we went in the studio we had 17. So we pulled our finger out and got some stuff done. And then we kind of whittled it down to the 10 that we knew would be the album. And then when we were in there recording, me and Jack had done the first couple of days in there, and the producer that we're working with, a guy called Ramesh Dodden-Goda, who's just an absolute god of the production world. He's just insane. And he's worked with everybody. He's worked with Bring Me. He did Ammo by Bring Me.
Bring Me to the Horizon.
Yes, yeah, I gather that now. Thank you for
Lovely
clarifying.
T-shirt though. And he's just worked with everybody, and like a lot of the songs that he's done, like we're fans of, and getting to work with him was amazing anyway. And we've worked with him a couple of times, and we did the EP with him with Twister, but this was the first sort of go in and do really big project, like start to finish, it's all just going to be him. And we've done the first couple of days, and he was like, come out for some food with me tonight, I want to talk to you. And we had a very in-depth conversation about how the songs are great, the band's great. We think the name might be holding you back a touch.
Right.
Which, to be honest, we've been told things like that, similar things to that in the past. But when we've been a band for so long, it's a case of, but we've built such a history and
like fans have tattoos, don't they?
I've got two. So but again, it was a huge section of our lives regardless. So even what we had to sort of do is think about the whole name change, and if it was going to be done, how would we do it, and how would we treat it? Would we treat it as a new band, or would we treat it as just like an album cycle, like you would do if you were touring an album of a certain title, and like all of the branding becomes that title? And kind of the way that we wanted to do it was just the next evolution of the band. So and the fact we'd had like a few lineup changes, and me and Jack last year we played with everybody in the world. But one thing that we do is it's a never say die attitude. We always know that we can make it happen regardless, as long as we've got some will and bodies, like we'll put the graft in and make it happen. And the whole Juliet's Not Dead thing was, we'd wrote down a load of band names decided, okay, that we're definitely going to do this. We're definitely going to treat it like an album cycle. This is the next evolution of the band. What do we like about band names? I've never even thought about it before. Never even thought, like, do I like that band name? Like,
Yeah, you
like,
just hear it and you're like, it's a band.
And we narrowed it down. I think I narrowed it down to I like one. Because all of them are like a pretty shit. Like, one of my favourite bands is Green Day. It's a fucking terrible band name.
You know, when you actually think about it, like band names, they're just awful. Like if Green Day came out today, you'd be like, what the fuck's that name?
Yeah, what's that? It's awful.
Yeah.
Terrible band name. But like, great band. But because they've got again, there's hits because of the history and there's hits because of who they are, and you associate everything they've done with that name rather than the name itself. But we're not at that stage. We've got, somebody has to look at the band name and go, okay, I'll give that a listen. So that was where we started, and we looked at a few, and a lot of them like from lines in films or lines in other people's songs or song titles. So for instance, Bring Me the Horizon comes from Pirates of the Caribbean.
All right.
Oh, does it really? Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's
I'm going to use that shirt a lot today.
God, oh, Jesus. Maybe I should have done my research before wearing a band t-shirt that I know nothing about.
You've seen them as well, haven't you?
Have I? I really enjoyed them. There's one of the few gigs I was actually sober to see and actually enjoyed as well. So
It's not my style of music, but it was a really good light
it
show
was
and
a
everything.
really good show. Yeah, it's
Great stage presence.
It's insane, the shows they do. And there's other bands we were looking at, Hold an Absence, Elton John song. There's actually so many bands named after Elton John songs, it's ridiculous. Yeah. So, and we were talking about like sort of basically going on Spotify playlists and like skipping. What do we do? Oh, what about this? What about that? And we had a list of probably 1,000 different random phrases and words that we quite liked. And then whittled them down to sort of 5 or 6, and then sent them off to Ramesh, who started this whole process, told us they were all shit. And then Niall used to follow this band. I forget what the band are called now. But James Arthur used to sing for them. And Niall had played with them a couple of times. And they had a song called Juliet Is Not Dead. And I was like, I quite like that as a phrase, especially because some of the early stuff that we wrote, it was actually heavily Shakespeare influenced.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, that could make sense. And then we tried to emphasize, did some logos, and it started to just make a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just sort of fell into place.
That's good. Did you get Ramesh's approval on that, or were you just like, no, this is the band name?
No, so we got Ramesh's seal of, well, that's all right.
That's good.
Just,
enough,
yeah,
isn't it?
it's good.
It's the music industry for 10 out of 10.
As we were getting. And that, to be honest, so that we got to the point where we had exhausted everything that we thought. So bear in mind, this conversation we had was 27th of January.
Yeah.
And we did the name change the first week in August. Like, so, and you know how often we're in the studio and how often we're working on stuff. This was daily.
Yeah.
So daily we'd have a couple of hours of, is that the time? Is this all great? Let's put ourselves through the mill again and tell us how all of our riding is terrible. But yeah, so once we did it, and once we started to get the logos, and what we've always done logo wise is we've had like symbols and text and other random bits of stuff to go with it, because we want to be able to switch things up merchandise wise. And so we, like with this one, we had that logo, which was the original sort of Twister symbol, but we had our text logos. I'm just a walking billboard. And with this one, we've done exactly the same. So we've got our text logo, which is really nice, and then we've got a JND sort of reversible circle thing, like a yin and yang thing, which I think is great. It's one of my favourite things we've done. And then a couple of other little bits now that are coming out because of the song titles. So yeah, there's loads of stuff going on with it, but I'm just pleased that we're through that process now and actually able to start releasing new music.
It's mental how much effort goes into that.
Yeah,
Just the
I
name
was gonna
change.
say that-
Like you've gone through your name changes.
Yeah, well, I mean, my theory of why it changed the name is a little bit less in depth. I thought because the movie Twisters came out, I thought
Got to compete.
Shit, we're going to have to compete
game
with you.
over. Delete, life, delete.
Just wait for the next Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
Completely new
Yeah.
name.
That's a good name because I reckon it's like both familiar and unique at the same time, which I think is an important thing to have with a band name.
Yeah.
Yeah, people need to read it and go, oh yeah, I'm interested in that. I'd
Yeah.
do something
Yeah.
with that. Or and I think we had been. Again, I named Twister when I was 13. Like,
Yeah.
there was no thought process went into it. People used to ask us, "Oh, what did you do with it? Why were you called Twister?"
It was a cool name.
Because I was 13.
Yeah.
Do you feel like emotional at that because you've had that name for like so long?
Definitely attached to it because like we've done everything under it, but also I think it's important that you try and move with the times and try and do something which is. Well, at the end of the day, we're all trying to do what the impossible thing, aren't we? So like it's trying to do its best guess. And if somebody says you should probably do this, somebody who is knocking about with some of the big guns,
Yeah.
then
Take
kind of
guidance.
you kind of need to take notice of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, here we are.
And just a random one to throw at you. Can you name what the worst name is you guys came up with?
Oh right.
Oh, that's a
okay.
good one.
No, I can't. Well, I can't say that in the public.
Not in public, it's fine.
But I'll tell you what some of the ones that we sort of narrowed it down to. The first one that we quite liked was Cisco Verde, which means green. I forget what it was now. Green fuck all, basically.
Yes.
But it didn't mean anything, and there was no like you googled it. And
Green Day.
yeah, Green Day. Yeah. And Google just went, no, there's no there, mate. And then we tried Kill Club. We quite like Kill Club. We've done some logos for Kill Club.
Sounds a bit too heavy for you guys, doesn't it?
Yeah, so that was it. It was trying to find the balance of what the name that suits.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've gone down some interesting thought processes. Like,
Yeah.
there was some dark places where you went. But back to the light.
Yeah. We'll find out on the break.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mint.
Take a break now, yeah.
Hey.
Going to take a break now?
We got loads of Instagram questions, so we may as well get that.
Yep,
through
absolutely.
next.
So we will see you in a bit.
We're back, baby!
Good. I think that's good. Yeah. So welcome back to side 2, where we have Instagram questions. That's me.
If you say questions and put reverb on it, you'll be fine.
Yeah, no, I do have that ability to be
Okay.
fair, but I'm just lazy.
We got at Captain_K_Morgan 13 has got 3 questions for you.
All right. Okay.
1, have you ever met a musician or a band that inspired you to do what you do? And if you did, what was the experience like?
Met a band. The first band that I saw, so I'd started playing. We had our little band, but yeah, we were only sort of 14 or so. We'd done some school gigs, but that was about it. And I got tickets to see Green Day at Milton Keynes, and that just totally changed me thought process on everything. That went from being I quite like playing in a band to going I only ever want to play in a band.
Yeah.
It's probably why that experience is probably why I don't do me solo stuff more regular.
Yeah.
Because it's being part of something bigger is just when you achieve things in a group, it's just so rewarding. Like, and even like over the last couple of weeks, we've got songs out and like some of them are doing like the first single's done really well. Like, that's really rewarding for everybody.
Yeah.
And like, I just feel like
Full on team thing.
yeah, it is. Yeah,
Cool.
proper big team effort, and that's nice. And we've got like a few guys around the outside of the band as well who are all involved and all who do little bits in that to keep the ship afloat. And like when you achieve things as a unit, it's just so much more rewarding. So definitely Green Day on that front. We used to follow when we first started a few cover bands from the area. So on a weekend when I was sort of like 13, 14, 15-year-old, and we weren't playing at the time, I wasn't doing a great deal of pub gigs at 14. We used to go and watch a couple of bands in the area. One was a band called Knee Jerk Reaction, just a pub covers band, but great lads, and sort of taught us our craft, if you like. So would like give us advice on equipment, would give us advice on what to do, what not to do, the do's and don'ts, good venues to try, bad venues to stay away from. And like people's experience like that is worth its weight in gold, because when you're going into a scene, especially like my granddad was in the same band for 60 years, but like my mum and dad were never really involved in music, although they played. My granddad wasn't really involved in how it all happened, he just did it. So for me, going into that scene without any knowledge or like people's advice like that does mean a lot, and it does help a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. Second question we got from him is, what is each member of the band's main phobia, and who has the most irrational by comparison?
I think he was expecting the full band to be here, I think.
Maybe.
But you can second guess, I
Yeah,
guess.
so I can answer this question. My phobia massively is creepy crawly anything. Spiders, right? But the lads do not respect this, right? We've now got a fish tank in the studio with a spider in it, right? And
As
they
in just a spider or like a tarantula? What you got?
I don't know, for me it looks like it could eat the planet.
Okay.
So like, but yeah, and then they keep, oh look, we're feeding the spider. Look, you fuck off. So yeah, I'm really not very good with spiders or heights. Niall's afraid of a hard day's work. I don't know about Jack. I don't think Jack doesn't really seem fazed by anything.
Yeah.
Neither does Dan really. So they're both knee bother. But yeah, Niall's definitely runs away when there's any graft to be done. And yeah, I kind of stand spiders. So there we go.
Cool. And also, what is the best memory each member's had so far being part of Juliet's Not Dead?
Well, for this band, we've done the square root of sod all, because the first gig was the 10th of August. But in terms of like, one really nice thing for me is Niall's been in the band sort of 4 different times over the last however long. He first joined the band when we were 17.
Has he always stepped in as bass, or has he done different parts?
No, he was a guitar player. So and he's an excellent guitarist. In fact, we were sat in a room in Ibiza with our friends of ours in a band called South Salem, and we were sat just having a few beers in the room, and their guitarist sat with Niall, and Niall's playing the acoustic guitar. He goes, even their bass player's a better guitarist than me. Niall is a really good guitar player. And what was the question again? Sorry.
It was, what's the best memory?
Best memory, yes. And I think once we've got, from this segment of what we've done, it's about us getting the new music out. And actually, when we did the name change, it was so like worrying, because how will people take it? Like, again, you said people have got tattoos of our names. Like, people have got like lyrics and like my signatures and stuff like that. Obviously, that's not going to change. Actually, I've got a new autograph. But it's like it was so much better than we thought, and like the reach went massive. It definitely did the best on any post we've ever put on social media, and the reaction was really good. So having that was like, okay, that's a big hurdle. Like we've overcome something which we thought we would struggle with, even though we knew we had to do it. But then, like, when Thrill Seekers took off on Spotify and stuff like that, that's really cool as well. But in terms of like things that we've done in the past, as both the bands are under whatever banner we were under, like when the first time that we headlined Newcastle O2, like the main room, that was like, you used to go to that venue as a kid, I'd love to play here. And then we supported Papa Roach there, and we played with The Alarm there, and then we sold out upstairs. And then they went, do you want to do a downstairs show? We're like, I'd love nothing more to do that. And then going in to do that show, and then we had Made in Tyne-and-Wear TV channel. We're like, okay, we're used to doing this, so we'll film it and we'll make a TV program out of it, and we'll do like a documentary of the lead up to the game. Like, right.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So like doing things like that, and then always trying to push the boundaries of what you're capable of, and now we have like, that was our first dip of our tour into doing video wall. So we're doing that show, and it was like, okay, let's have an animated show. So we brought somebody on board to design the show, and now we design our own show, and we take it everywhere with us, and every gig we do is an animated show. And like, these are all like sort of huge steps at the time, which are now part of our everyday. That was a massive moment. So that was May 2017, I think. That was huge for us. Probably the best gig we've ever done.
Yeah, so far. At Mrs. Berry Insta said, "What's your favourite viral internet animal?"
Oh, the screaming
I
goat.
thought you were going to say that, you know.
That one, brilliant, isn't he?
Question about the name, we've gone through that. At Bum with a Guitar says, "What's your pre-gig scran? What do you go for?"
Pre-gig scran, well, usually nout, but post-gig scran, that's a different animal.
How do you gig completely empty stomach? You
Yeah.
just go in for the whole...
Yeah, otherwise just like
Building out a
it's
tight
like
don't
trying
throw
to
up.
dance with a fridge on.
Yeah.
You know, it's ain't good. So yeah, don't tend to eat. Usually like if it's a show day, we'll tend to have like sort of a decent breakfast.
Yeah.
And then go into the gig, and then have something late doors. So our favourite thing is to find a good curry house.
Nice.
So wherever we are, we've already started planning this of
Yeah.
like the tour of curry houses for the tour. I can't wait to get back at the end of November and just be like yellow because we've had that much curry. But yeah, good curries are the way to go.
Yeah, mint. At Stitch_Redmond_music_management, what's been your favourite acoustic version of a track, either your own or another artist?
Our favourite acoustic version? I love Boyce Avenue.
Yeah,
Yeah, so like
I think they're mint.
oh, they're amazing, aren't they?
Yeah.
And there's only like sort of 2 or 3 songs that I've cried to in a live setting. And like all of them have been totally unexpected. Wake Me Up When September Ends makes me bawl my eyes out. And I went out.
Did you cry the first time you seen Green Day live? Or were you like still at that teenage stage of I can't cry because I'm a bloke?
No, I've always cried my
Were
eyes
you in
out.
there?
Mate. Oh, I've always, yeah. The first time that I saw them, Wait a Minute, September Ends got me straight away.
Yeah.
And then since then, Holiday for some bizarre reason. And then the other one is Fix You.
Yeah.
And I went to see Coldplay at Stadium of Light a good few years ago. And I went because my mate's dad couldn't go, and he's like, "I've got a ticket, come with us." I didn't really like Coldplay. And then he turned around after song 1 and shut me mouth because I was like, honestly, incredible.
Yeah.
And they did Fix You that night, and I was an absolute broken person. Then I went to see Boyce Avenue, and they did it, and it was exactly the same, but they just did it so well. So a lot of Boyce Avenue stuff, I think their covers are really cool.
Yeah. That's nice. And then Ashley sent us some questions to put in for this earlier. Do you have any pre-show routines or rituals?
Yeah, massive vocal warm-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wish I did
You
that.
start them through the day, or you just like an hour before you're on stage kind of thing?
we tend to do sort of little ones on the van on the way to the gig in terms of just sort of making sure that you get the sound check and you can actually make a racket.
Yeah.
But then probably half an hour before we go on, we'll go and do a Jacob's Vocal Academy, well, just on YouTube.
Yeah.
Do a 5-10 minute workout.
The weird purple one.
Yeah.
I think I did that on the way to studios and stuff, just in
Yeah.
my car.
Yeah.
And you feel awkward on like a red light and people look at you and you're like, la 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 la.
Usually I'm doing them in a toilet though, and
Yeah.
the bloke's going, whatever this fella. But they're really helpful. And then we'll usually run a couple of the sort of bigger choruses where we're talking like sort of 4-part vocal harmonies. We'll try and run all them together just to tune ourselves in.
Yeah.
Don't know why I'm imagining that scene from Step Brothers where in the car and they're doing it.
Well, that's exactly it.
That's it, and it seems to me. And like someone's low and they get like told off to get out of pitch there, mate.
Sort that out. Yeah. That is exactly it.
Yeah. Vision that in the van on the way up. What's your least favourite part of touring?
It's actually not. It's going to be a thing of the past for me. I love driving. Really love driving, except when we're touring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that because it's late or you just...
No, I love driving through the night. Like in terms of like all of the aspects of it, I love.
In the cities, in it though. I couldn't be doing like in city driving as a city. I don't know
Really?
anyway.
No, it doesn't bother me at all.
so not-
But to be honest, a lot of that though came from being like thrown in the deep end. So
Yeah.
we did some shows in Germany a few years ago, and my dad had only just put me on the van insurance, so I'd never really driven the van before. And he was like, there was a spell on the autobahn. I'm sat at 70 mile an hour between two wagons in the middle lane going, I'm shitting myself. And like, I did about 30 mile. I pulled into the services, I was like hyperventilating.
Yeah.
It was awful. And then, so I've done that. Like, everything else
Easy.
is dead easy, yeah. And in terms of like, obviously we've got a big van. Sometimes cities can be a bit difficult because they're quite tight. But as long as you know your vehicle and don't try and rush everything, it's all right.
Yeah.
But on this run, I've managed to sort it so I don't need to do any of the driving,
Mint.
which will be lovely because when we did our last European tour last March, it was incredible. I mean, I did little bits of driving, but like only an hour here, an hour there, and I just felt so much more. I had loads more energy. I had loads more. When we got the gigs and stuff, I was just a bit more with it. I think the trouble is if you're doing 5 or 6 hours driving, then you're doing a load in and then a big setup, and then you're sound checking, and you've got 2 hours to wait before you're doing the gig. By the time you get on stage, you just brown bread. There's nothing left.
Yeah.
So if I've got that 5 or 6 hours to chill, or even if I was doing other bits of work, like maybe it's like creating reels or whatever,
It's better for you.
it's loads better for me. So I think I love driving, but only on tour is not great.
I get that. I did a gig in June at the Clooney, and I know it's not like miles away. But every other original gig I've done, I've always had like a few cover gigs beforehand, just to cover the fact I'm not gigging that night.
Yeah.
And I said this year was the first time I was making sure I didn't do any gigs from like 24 hours beforehand, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And came off stage thinking that was mint, because like, yeah, you feel more refreshed because you haven't
do.
just pissed time away doing note.
No, totally. And like the whole, obviously me and all three of us, we do the whole
Yeah.
out all the time to
Aye.
making noise in some way, shape or form. But when you're doing, we can get through a gig in a pub at 40%.
Yeah.
You can sit there and you can tickle away and not
Sit on a
have to
stool and just-
sit on a stool,
yeah, you
not
can-
have to belt your head off, and do what that gig needs.
Yeah.
You can't do it in a tour show.
Yeah.
It's flat out or fuck all. Like, if you're not going to give it 1,000,000%, then dinner can.
Yeah.
And our sets, like, it's flat out for 90 minutes. So, like, there's no allows, there's no gaps between songs. It's all just start, stop, go home.
Yeah.
And you've got to make sure that you're like, one, that you're fit enough to do that, and two, that your voice is capable
Yeah.
of doing your 90 minutes without going, "Ugh."
Yeah. Next one we got is what's the most favourite part of touring?
Just playing.
Yeah, just
Like-
the show itself.
Yeah, like,
Do you ever
Meeting
do
people
the
as
show
well.
when you're like, I'm just waiting for that one song? Because you're like, that's my favourite one to do, and you're like, it's fucking...
yeah, there's the sort of, it's maybe it's not even down to songs, it's more like moments. And like, we have a couple of songs where that's sometimes it's totally catches you off guard. The first time I did was that show that I mentioned before at Newcastle, and we've got a song called 64 White Lies.
Yeah.
And just, it was like a middle 8 section, and then just before the last chorus, I whisper this line. So I'm going to whisper the line, and there's like, I think it was about 800 people there, all whispered it back, and I just fell to bits. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't finish the line. I just
Yeah.
fell to pieces, and it
that
was
same moment kind of...
yeah, and I was just tingling. I mean, I don't even know whether I finished the song. I gotta remember.
Still on stage now.
I'm still there. Going,
Never left.
That was mint. That was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Get home. But
cool.
yes, stuff like that's just when you hear people singing lines back at you, and like, especially when they catch you off guard.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Mint. What is one venue you'd play if you could only play it once? Was it? Oh, I just misread that.
What's one venue you would play if you could only ever play one venue?
Or just okay. All right.
Get me to read, like I can do that.
Get it. So if you're going to have one residency, where is it?
I mean, it's the Dubliner, isn't it?
Yeah.
On the quayside. Not because Dan's
goes
behind the
without
camera.
saying.
You'd have to do an Elvis tour, wouldn't you? Like Las Vegas.
Oh, I charge him millions, like.
Yeah, that's good, huh?
So, if you give you a couple of answers, right? So, one, on our current tour and schedule, there's one venue which is like, it just feels like home to us, and that's the Waterloo in Blackpool.
Right.
It's just, the people are lovely, the venue is lovely, it doesn't matter
Is
when
that the one
we
you
go.
did around the pandemic era where it was just a word of mouth event?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first time we went there was during lockdown, and we did it when it was the whole place was shut down, and we did a streaming thing because because of the way that they'd actually bought the venue, they didn't get any of the grants and that to keep the place alive.
Yeah.
So we did a streaming thing to
Like fun towards
just
them.
fundraise for the venue, and thankfully we've still got it. So it's definitely like sort of part of our history, and we're now part of theirs. So that's a beautiful place. In terms of ones around the world, I'd love to play in Vegas. I'd love to do one of the residencies in Vegas. That would be like insane, be cool. In the UK, if you're talking sort of the bigger touring venues, the likes of the Roundhouse in London, like I don't know if you've seen that, but it's the old train depot, and it is just round. It looks incredible. Never played there, but like seen a million photographs of the place, and I just like playing there would be insanely special.
Is that too big for you to put on the tour?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we'd have
Maybe
to do.
next tour.
We'd have to go. We're not doing a show for the next 10 years. Come and watch us tonight.
Yeah.
There.
Two more from Ashley. What's your funniest tour story?
Can't tell you that one, but I can tell. So one of the best things that we've done when we've been on tour, and this is like, it really goes against a lot of what people believe you should do, right? So people believe that when you're going on tour, everything should be planned to the nth degree before you go. Totally disagree with that.
Yeah.
Right. Reason being, we've done 4 or 5 this way now, and they always work out better than the ones that we've planned to the nth degree. So when we did Europe last year, I booked us accommodation for night 1. We're away for a month, right? I booked us accommodation for night 1, and that was it. So as we went, I just booked as we went, and like we discussed where we wanted to be. So do you want to be in the city tonight? No, actually. Right, in that case, I'll book us somewhere in the sticks.
Yeah.
And then we had a couple of days off in between. It's like, okay, well, where are we in the world right now? Well, we're here. Where we're going? We're going there. Well, actually, there's this little place here. There's a place available tonight. We can do this. And we spent 5 days in a German farm in Trier, which was just incredible. And like the place that we took had a barbecue pit outside, and like we all had our own rooms, and it was for nothing. Like I paid pittance for this place. And then we stayed in a chateau in the west of France, on the side of a mountain, and there's a picture of me van on the side of this mountain like that. And like we wouldn't have gone to these places if we just booked what booking.com tells you to book for that area.
You've got to go in the moment, kind of.
Yeah. So load of that, and then me and Jack, when we did America last in March, like again
Is that just you and Jack?
just me and Jack, yeah. We had like 5 acoustic gigs, but the main thing was like we've never played the States, so it was like, let's just go and try and meet some people, make some friends, and we booked some flights, and we took the worst flights possible to get them like the cheapest, which meant we had the best time, because we spent 24 hours in New York and then 19 hours in Miami, and like we wouldn't have gone to them places otherwise. So we found a little dive bar in New York and played a few songs, and then found a few interesting places in Miami like nobody wants to know about. But when we got on the road and we flew from New York to Atlanta and just hired a Mustang, hired a guitar and a cajon, and drove around Georgia, Tennessee, and then down through Alabama into Louisiana, and like it was just the most amazing time. And we wouldn't have done any of what we come back and once we come back and gone, wasn't this amazing? And all of that was off the cuff, like just
Best way to do it then, isn't it?
totally amazing.
And then final one from Ashley is, what's your worst tour experience?
Worst tour experience. What can I say? I think the worst. Let's blanket statement this rather than specifics, right?
Okay.
So, we've toured with loads of different bands, and you know what? 9 times out of 10, they're all lovely, right? You get on with each other really well, and by the time you finish the tour, you're brothers in arms. Like you're all in it together. Might get up on the last night and do a song together, and it's all just everyone's in it for a good time. However, there's been a few times over the years we've done shows, not full tours maybe, but like 1 or 2 shows with bands that have just been the total other end of the spectrum, and who are only in it for themselves, and who they're not team players, they're not up for a laugh. Like we've even had bands come and support us and be like arseholes about it, like, what's the matter with you? Like we're
Never understood that.
No,
Never
no,
understood
like-
it. Like egos and shit like that. Just who do you think you are? Somehow they think they're better than everyone else. And it's like, it's fucking-
we've had people come and play. Obviously, like we've had various different members over the years, and like one of the big things that destroys bands is people's egos.
Yeah.
And like, don't get me wrong, you've got, in order to do what we do, as you know, right, you've got to have a level of self-belief.
Yeah.
You've got to have a level of sort of, I suppose it is ego, a little bit of
It is,
like,
yes.
I'm
Controlled
capable.
ego.
Yeah, I know that I can go and do this. Like, and we've done it in hostile situations at times, but being able to deal with the hostility and like almost turn it on its head, make it a positive.
Yeah.
And like you've got to be able to be some sort of character to do that. But some of these people, man, are just like, we've played with drummers who are just only interested in what they can get out of it. Like it's not it's what we can get out of it. It's not, well, what about me? No, but what about us? Like like I never. If I'm writing a statement about the band, I never use the word I in it ever. It's always we do this and we are this, and
That's what a band is, isn't it? So,
that's what that's what it is. You do it together, but there's so many of these other bands that you see who they don't share the weight the same. And, I've seen bands go to sound check and their lead singer not turn up for sound check, and like
just lazy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's an attitude, and that's just like it's a bad attitude. That you just say, well, if you don't want to be there, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
The worst ones are kind of the mid to low level. You find that most of the ones on the sort of biggest circuit, the reason they're there is because they've always dealt with people the right way.
Yeah.
They've always been professional. Like the bands that are arseholes, they do have a ceiling.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, we've played with some very, very interesting ones.
Yeah. Obviously, beforehand, when you said that since you've done the name change, that was a bit of a touch and go, see how people are going to react to it.
Yeah.
Since you've done that and now you're releasing music, do you have more excitement behind the new songs that are coming out? Or does it still feel the same? Is it kind of like this is a newer thing? Or
It feels exactly the same to me.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. So, but I wanted to.
yeah,
I wanted to feel the
you just
same.
want to be the same band.
Yeah. Like, well, if it was totally my decision, we'd have stayed the way we were. But it's because I am totally proud of everything that we've done, and like even the stuff that like we did when we were kids. Like it's all part of the natural progression to where you end up being. And you see people that have been in bands and like, how many bands? I've been in 1,000 bands. Oh, brilliant! What have any of them ever done?
Yeah.
Like, whereas we can sit and go, oh, we've done this many things, and like we've had different lineups and different band members and stuff like that. But like the band itself has done that, and the reason it's done that is because it's had longevity to do it. So I look at this now, definitely with an element of excitement, because I think there's more than us believes in it now.
Because Thrill Seekers has done better than you thought it would, hasn't it?
Ma-
Sure, I've seen your post on it a bit like.
Yeah, like, so again, because you're changing your name, and you're obviously, we'll put a statement out there going, we are changing our name, and our website, if you type in officialtwister.co.uk or .com, then they both take you to the new Juliet's Not Dead website. Obviously, you do things like that, but in terms of our social pages, they're gone.
Yeah.
Like, they're just not there anymore. So people will go looking for us and go, gone now, Tom. Like, there is still that element of people still finding out that we aren't who we were. And I always thought the first couple of singles on this is going to be our test the water.
Yeah.
But it's gone skyward.
That's
and I think the likes of, we did put a lot of sort of research into what we did with Spotify, because we really struggled with Spotify with Twister, like massively, because there's so many other bands called Twister or rappers or whatever, and actually through this process we've changed one of the names of somebody else's band to Juliet's Not Dead as well.
Yeah.
So unfortunate for that.
I remember a couple of months ago I was just making like a generic playlist on my Spotify, and I was putting like loads of songs in it, and I was looking through yours and I was trying to find Twister, and everywhere I looked I couldn't find it. I remember messaging me like, I'm just trying to find your Twister songs, but they're not there. And then I found one of them through like a light song, and I think it was Young and Affected. And I followed that through to find like most of your catalogue are gone. I was like, just in case you don't know this, you know that all the Twister songs are kind of like disappearing. Then 24 hours later, you're like, we're changing our name. And I was like, that makes sense.
That was it. So we were literally sat there for weeks going, where do we start? Like, where's this whole thing, like, what's the first domino to go? And I was like, well, it's got to be Spotify, because that's the one that's going to take a little while there. Yeah. And we released the first album through a record label, the EP through ourselves, and then earlier this year we were in talks with a really good sizable label, and we were trying to do a load of deals with, could they buy the back catalogue, could they do like, and all this was happening at the same time. We were trying to change the band name. When do we do it? And it was like, well, we need to do it before we start the process of releasing new music.
Yeah.
But we know, like, we need to do it and then release new music. It needs to be like the domino effect. Like, what's the first one? So, yeah, we started to change a few things in the background. Like, I'd redone the website totally and just like saved it, stated don't publish it yet. Yeah, it was very difficult though.
Yeah. And obviously you've got a tour out on this year.
Yes.
This is obviously to announce the new band name and obviously the songs that are coming out. Will there still be songs previously out, so we can expect the ones we know?
100%. So,
because Ashley's favourite song is Secrets, and she'll be livid if it's not there.
We are definitely been Secrets. I'll show you the set list. Yeah. No, it was important for us. Like, we try to reiterate a little bit of, like, we wanted to keep everything that we are about, all of the positive things that we're about as a band. We wanted to keep everything like that, especially the songs, because the songs mean a lot to us as well as everybody else. That we don't want to lose anything that we've done, and the new stuff as well. The album's not out yet.
Yeah.
So we're playing 4 tracks off the new album, 3 of which will be out by the time for instance, the end of the tour happens. And then, so we don't want people to turn up going, not any of this.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not going to work. It's not going to make it great for anybody. So we've got a new show. New show is designed around the new stuff that's in there. And then we've changed, like, how the other songs play in the set, what the role of the other songs are within the set. Because that's the main sort of thing, is if you are putting a new tour on, you want people to come and see something different. Like, what's different now to what you saw 18 months ago? Well, loads. Yeah. So, I'm really looking forward to it, because there's so many different elements to this show which are far and beyond what we've done before as well.
That's cool. Before I ask the next one, because I know I've chatted a lot on this.
All right.
Have you got any questions you want to ask on CV?
I think they've all been asked, to be honest. I'm not going to...
Obviously, the last segment we've got on this is going to be the song that you've already pre-recorded for, which sounds really nice acoustically.
Thanks.
But you were saying you never done it like that before. Is that meant to be a soft song anyway, or is it going to be quite Twister-esque full sound?
Yes, it starts off sort of fairly light, but then it gets fairly heavy as well.
Yeah.
So, but to be honest, what we always do with songs is the tale of a good song is, can you play it with one guitar and one voice and it still sound like a song?
Yeah, it's important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I reckon it is.
So you can put all the bells and whistles on it and like still just full of bells and whistles, but like is it a song? Is it a quality thing on its own? And yeah, so that's one of my favourites off the album.
Yeah. And what's it called?
It's called Battle Scarred.
Mint. And when's it out?
That
Will
one's
it be out?
the album is out on the 7th of February. We don't know what the third single is going to be
All right.
yet. The second single, which is called Open Fire, is out on Friday the 4th of October.
It's next week, isn't it, for us?
It is next week.
Although for the podcast, it should be the Friday gone.
Probably November time, to be fair, because I'm in Japan.
Okay.
So yeah, so
It
it's
was
quite
out.
hard to.
It was out last October
Yeah.
4th.
Yeah.
It should be out to stream. You should be listening to
Yeah.
it now. No, that's been mint. Thank you very much for coming down.
Thank you very much for having us. It's been really good fun.
What's your social tags now for people to drop you a follow?
Oh, what a great question. At Juliet's Not Dead on pretty much everything.
Perfect. If you haven't yet, we are at Off the Stage UK. Drop us a follow so you can ask any questions to the next act. Thank you very much. Do you want to
Anytime.
introduce the song?
No, you can do it. You can do it because you would. Yeah, I'll do it. This song's called Battle Scarred.
And we will see you later.
Do you ever feel like you're controlled by your beautiful mind? I'm sore, but I never saw the signs. Deception and justice rely on keeping your third eye blind. I was hopeful, but I never realized just how far that you crossed the line. The truth is I never really lied like you lied. Do you feel like you're some kind of closer? You can see it like the wrecking ball's wide. I get lost sometimes, I'm still broke from that look in your eyes. Always stay true to my heart. You left me battle scarred. I wish I could rewind and take back emotions I had. Do anything to relive our time. Just sit back, relax. Are you tired? I'm tired. Do you feel like you're some kind of closer? You can see it like the wrecking ball's wide. I get lost sometimes, I'm still broke from that look in your eyes. Always stay true to my heart. You left me battle scarred. All them times we cried, I'm not good with those long goodbyes. Stop when the fighting starts. You left me battle scarred. When you're lost sometimes, just come back to that look in my eyes. I'll keep you safe from harm every time you cry. We will stop before the fighting starts. I get lost sometimes, I'm still broke from that look in your eyes always stay true to my heart. You left me battle scarred. All them times we cried, I'm not good with those long goodbyes. Stop when the fighting starts. You left me battle scarred. You left me battle scarred.
Something like that. Haven't played it like that before, but interesting.